You know, when you live your whole life, I mean, it took me a while. It took me 5 or 6 years to adjust to the winters up here. And I was in my 20s. And of course, I will tell you this, now when it gets really hot, I'm a bitch. I'll be out there in the yard on a riding lawnmower and jump off and go to start weed eating. And it'll be like, okay, time to drink some water. I'm getting a little lightheaded here. I saw the video of y'all moving the piano in.
Did you see that?
Did they actually take the window frame out?
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know, have the damn window knocked out, but
we took measurements, we took pictures. There's about 2 or 3 different landings here: stairway landing, staircase landing, staircase landing. And we sent pictures and we were like, you sure you're going to be able to do this? And the guy was like, oh, I've been doing this 42 years. And, you know, I wouldn't have taken the job if I wouldn't have seen the pictures, you know?
Well, when I saw the way that they were moving it in and the crane and everything, I was like, I bet this guy
that was plan B. That was plan B.
Oh, because I was thinking to myself, I was like, this guy right here looks like the type that does like a lot of pool tables and stuff like that. And, you know, because there's a lot of game rooms and big houses upstairs with 9-foot slate pool tables. And I mean, I don't know what the weight comparison is, but were they going to try to turn it up on end and go up the stairs with it?
Yep, they tried. And I don't think that they counted that it was going to be on this thing. And that added the extra height, which
so they couldn't get it through with the sled.
Right. So then plan B was, and the only thing that we're worried about here is that there's a overhang that, you know, goes over the window. So they weren't sure if the crane was A, going to fit down this weird ass driveway that we have.
Right.
And B, if they were going to be able to clear that overhang. So they had to swing that piano in.
You know, I was watching TikTok last night and they had these big marble monuments that they were showing how they move them. Like, and you got like the pedestal and everything, and they get it like centered up just right. And they put ice underneath it and they've got it just right. And as the ice melts, so they can actually pull out the stuff so it sits completely flat. And I was like,
I mean, could you imagine being in that meeting when that guy first brought up that that idea?
Oh no, I guarantee you that was probably somebody who never made more than minimum wage that showed them how to do that, and some asshole that's got a lot more, and a lot less pride or integrity walked in a meeting and was like, "No, this is how we're going to do it." And they were like, "Fucking Cody Walden, that genius!" And it was somebody that just stole it, because that right there, nah. But I was just like, holy shit, man. You know, this is
kind of like that dude who was eating the spaghetti, just cutting it
yeah.
with the scissors.
Yeah. Wow. That's
yeah, that was great. So you saw the documentary. Wasn't that pretty badass? They did that.
I just, I mean, everybody knows who the Bee Gees were. I had a soccer coach growing up. He was Filipino and he was Thai. And the first time I ever heard the Bee Gees was him singing it, because he was just the biggest Bee Gees fan in the world. And then, then I met you and your connections with them. And so that like you find yourself researching a little more. And then there's a podcast that I listen to. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but there's one I listened to that is the guy that used to do Dirty Jobs, Mike.
Love that guy.
Okay, well, then these are like little 3 to 5 minute podcasts. And do you remember on the radio, Paul Harvey? That's the rest of the story,
Yeah.
Well, there's that's how he does it. Like, he doesn't really do the reveal until the end, and like a lot of times you don't know who he's talking about until the very end. And there was but it was talking about how the promoter, the two promoters, was where the B and the G came from. It didn't come from Barry Gibb. It came from the two promoters in Australia at the racetrack. And I was like, you learn, that little tidbit, and
I met that dude.
oh, really?
When we all went on the mythology tour down there, they had made it a point to meet. So the whole family and crew went over to this racetrack. There's pictures around where Samantha's kid is inside this little race car. They're like miniatures or something. They're like really small race cars.
Yeah.
What the story is on those? But it was the guy who was telling the story about that, and
Wow.
And he was saying how that happened, how he needed to record a song or two, and Barry and the brothers came down and they recorded the entire record. He was like, or they recorded the 2 or 3 songs, and the guy was like, man, we did that like in 15 minutes. So he was like, you have anything else? And they were like, well, we could go and write some more right now. So they just kind of like went and wrote some more songs right there, and they completed an entire record.
I didn't realize it until, because I mean, I listened to it, and I mean, the success with the Saturday Night Fever and all that, but I didn't realize until I watched this documentary that they had the success as songwriters. I didn't realize that Barry and Robin wrote To Love Somebody. I remember listening to that song, on the oldies station, riding with my mom, and it's just like, you don't know what it's like, oh baby, you don't. And I'm like, everybody in the world has cut that song, and it was just like, that was a huge song. And then, they're the sole artist on a label with Clapton, and they go to the same place, and it's just
wild.
It is. It's really, really wild, and it's just I like
the part when it gets to the point where there wasn't that many acts before them, right? I mean, that has hit that kind of superstardom, right? I mean, there were a few, but and then the audience turning on them.
Oh yeah. When they had it was funny because I was watching one thing, and there was the guy that was he was like the usher or something there, and he was like, man, they were doing this, We Hate Disco thing, and he's like, I'm looking at the albums that everybody's bringing through, and he's like, they weren't even disco albums, they were just like black artists. And I was like, and he was like, people were just got greedy, the record labels did, and they started putting shit as disco because disco was hot. Right. And just the whirlwind of a ride that they were on, and just and at the same time, at the very end, you got Barry, who says, I'd give it all back if I could have them back there. And I don't know anybody that's not a piece of shit that wouldn't say the same thing. Right. I mean, I wouldn't, but it was just, it was pretty amazing. And, I'm trying to release we together are trying to release one of my songs, the 1st and the 15th of every month. So 2 songs a month, just to get it. Well, I mean, I was telling David,
the last one was
Leaving New Orleans.
Leaving New Orleans, right?
And Leaving New Orleans was like, I was like, man, it was under 1,000 for like the first 4 or 5 days, and then all of a sudden it was like 5,000-6,000 real quick. The thing about it is I don't know if it took it down or what. Well, it didn't take it down, but it's not on my thing. But my number one on Spotify was Bonita. It still is, but it's not on when I go on Spotify, it's not on the popular one anymore. It's like it's still on my discography, but the ones that like your 5 popular songs, and it's usually like this one's got Leaving New Orleans, and it's got Back Road Redemption, which is at 116,000, but Bonita was like well over 150,000, and I guess it was because it was from 2019 maybe. With these other ones, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to continually put out really, really good shit so people are just like, holy shit, this guy's not, sitting a one-off. This guy's is, every song he's putting out is, it's either moving or it's making you move, basically. If you can, and right now my Benita's my number one. It's at 150,000 plays. That's one of the reasons that I was so adamant about doing a song like that, is I was like, shit, man, Mexico City is the biggest freaking city in the world. I mean, people don't realize there are a hell of a lot more Spanish-speaking people within driving distance of right here than there are English-speaking people.
Yeah.
It's just, and
yeah.
I felt like it was, I wanted to do it in a way that says, listen, I am in no way authentic, and I wanted people to kind of laugh at that. I wanted basically people that spoke English as a second language to be like, look at this gringo, just
yeah. But I know those words.
Yeah, not trying to take myself too seriously, but if you can get on a playlist with a ton of monthly subscribers, it's kind of like, do you want to do, you can sell a shitload of little bar concerts for $10 a head, or you can go to one stadium and sell them for $60. It's like, do you want to do it by volume, or do you want to do it by? So I don't know. I mean, but if we could find that sweet spot that would be like attainable to get in these playlists, but where we're not asking too much, but also it would be doing enough for us where we're seeing and other people are seeing us, because I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, this is, everybody says it every year, this year's my year, but I'm just like, I've heard too many mediocre songs go top 10 to be like, golly, this is
best song doesn't win anymore.
No, it hadn't won for a long time, and it doesn't even make me mad. It's just like, there's more money made in Nashville off of shitty music every day than there is off of good music. I mean, it's a whole lot easier for the slime ball down the road to tell 30 shitty girls that, hey, I can make you a star, get 10 grand from your dad and I'll make you a CD and everything. And, then to bust his ass to get a shot at somebody like a Carrie Underwood or Miranda Lambert or something like that. It's so yeah, you're right. The best song doesn't win anymore. And I mean, but the best music,
you're right, it hasn't for a while.
The best musicians, I've always said, the best musicians, you'll never hear them on the radio. You'll never hear the best musicians on the radio.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot. The best songwriters or the best songs you'll never hear. But it's it's finding that.
But who has the attention will, like Lil Nas X.
Right. If Lil Nas X would have had a portfolio behind Old Town Road of songs just as catchy or just as good as Old Town Road, you wouldn't have been able to stop him.
Yeah.
You would not have been able to stop him.
Right.
It was just, we don't have to tour right now. There's a lot of people that are just, and I was talking to DJ Silver a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, how's it going? He's like, man, I'm losing so much, because he's like, he's still paying his people, but like, I was like thinking to myself, I was like, man, if country acts aren't playing, there's definitely no need for the DJs that open these shows for the country acts. I was like,
the union workers who are, moving the stuff backstage.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel really bad for them. Yeah.
I told a guy one time about 6 months ago. It was probably July. It was probably about the same time I had my surgery. I was like, I always said that I would take it, success, any way I could get it. But I said, I would have hated to have been that guy that signed a record deal in like September of 2019. Because I mean, you got a head full of steam. You're ready to fucking hit the road, tour your ass off, put this thing out there. And all of a sudden,
the Cadillac 3, I think, I follow them, and they were already in Switzerland or Iceland. I don't know where they were there. The next thing I know, oh, we're heading back.
Man, I see these guys and I'm like, shit, man, a lot of these guys were living like they were making $3 or $4 million a year, and they bought houses based on making $3 or $4 million a year, and they had vehicles based on, and I was like, there's going to be people that don't recover from this thing, but even if everybody recovers, I feel like that people's musical tastes are going to change, with because people aren't in their cars as much. They're not being fed that bullshit that, mainstream radio. I mean, they make popular what they want to make popular, and people only have certain options to listen to. And they're like, this is definitely the stuff that goes number one is definitely, I wouldn't say the most liked song, but I would say, not necessarily the most unliked song.
They're the songs that have been dominating on the platforms on social media because of the videos attached to them. Although Spotify did have a trend change in listeners during the pandemic of them going from like your pop, top 40 stuff into more classical music. I guess because, you're not getting ready to go out to the clubs. You're not getting ready to get hyped to go out. You're just staying at home in your sweatpants. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to listen to, what I would usually listen to get all hyped.
Well, and I mean, I agree with that. And I imagine a lot of people listen to Spotify.
Or jazz. I've been listening to a lot of jazz since the pandemic.
Oh, man, dude, I listen to, but that's the thing is like people would listen to Spotify in that 1 hour and less commute, so they would be listening to that, getting ready, getting going on the way home, like you said, going out to the club, things like that. But music that's palatable all day is more of that classical, that jazz. I mean, man, I'm gonna tell you what, I used to love like a relaxed evening, and I would put on Nora Jones, and that shit would just, I mean, she had a voice that was just unbelievable. It was just so, it was like when you freaking, are dehydrated and you've been busting your ass all day and you take that first good swallow of a cold beer and it just kind of relaxes your whole body. She had that same effect.
Yeah, Chasing Pirates was playing on last night on Alexa, and my wife, she was just like, yo, who is this? Is this something new? I'm like, what? Never heard this? It was at least 10 years old. But it still had that vibe. And we were listening to just very easy, music, playlists like that. We weren't listening to what we would listen to if we're about to like go, to like a Three Crow hang or the local hang.
Right.
You don't listen to that stuff or getting home. You just listen to stuff. You're just like, it's not going to be too overwhelming,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that a lot of people, but I mean, I think that's maybe why you saw the change. I think a lot of people before the pandemic, they used music like they used coffee. It was like a stimulant. It was like and when they had the option to have it going all the time, they used it more like they used tea, or it was just you didn't have to have it as potent, and I don't know, that would I hope that morphs a little bit, because one of the things you learn to do as a songwriter is to make make 3 minutes as potent as you can possibly make it. It's like this joke my dad used to tell. He'd talk about eating a raccoon, and he would say, you take this raccoon and you have to very carefully remove these musk glands, these scent glands, and you skin him out, and you basically you take this paper bag, and you basically you put your carrots and your potatoes and everything, and then you throw a handful of flour in there in that paper bag, and you put that raccoon in there, and you shake it up real good where it puts that flour all over, and you roll it up real tight and put it in the oven, and you cook that raccoon for 3 hours at 300 degrees, not 295, not 305, 3 hours. And there's only one way to really cook a raccoon right. And you pull that pot out the thing, and it'll be perfect. And you take that raccoon out and you throw it in the fucking trash and eat that paper bag. because ain't no good way to eat a damn raccoon. But you could bring people out and you say, yeah, you cook it and you do this and you do that. And then you throw the coon in a dumpster and eat the paper bag.
That needs to have one of your songs on it, though. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that content is good enough for people to stick around and view, no matter what's going on, no matter what music is going on.
And how long do I have to view it? Because I mean, there's some shit they get me every time, at least 2 or 3 times. You know, it'll be like there'll be something and you'll just be waiting for it to happen, and they've already got you. You've watched.
And how many views? And how many views they have?
Yeah, and it'll just be like, yeah, it'll be something.
But
like,
if you use that same kind of, like, you know, hack for actually something that's good, then
right,
it travels even further. You know, people are just using that hack because they know that the algorithm likes it when people just stay there and watch it. Oh, this post is making people stay on this, so we're gonna show this to a lot more posts, to a lot more people.
Right.
And that's basically it. The average watch time on my sand fleas video was the entire length. You know, so that's and it just continues to get pushed and pushed and pushed, because I think that these platforms just want you to stay on there. So whatever post you get, to have people be like just waiting, you know, for something. And I had a post that just said, wait, slow down, you know, and then, you know, a lot of people probably went, oh, this shit, because the likes weren't that much. I know people were just fucking like, oh, this asshole, but it made them stop, and it pushed the video a lot. And I tried that video just as an experiment to see if that would work, and it did. It's like just about putting anything out there is the data that you get from it. You know, you actually see what people like. If was it the song, was it not the song? See, with my Sand Fleas videos, I don't know if I would have put one of my songs on there, would it have gone that far? You know what I mean? Was it the combination of both songs?
Back before I got, you know, because I cleaned off my TikTok and then started re-uploading videos a month or 2 back. But I mean, there wasn't many, but this is my truck video. There was 2 or 3 people that like basically duetted it or whatever. They like did their own truck, and I was like, man, this could be, you know, I would love to be, you know, to have that song with that one line, you know, like that small waist, pretty face, and a big bank. I mean, you know, and they do that with country songs and stuff like that right now too. But if you could the publishing on things like that, I mean, you know, promoting, you know, you're doing one thing that nobody has done, and that's that you're promoting material that you own. Most promoters are promoting stuff that they don't own, and they're making a cut off the top. But, you know, there's really nothing more important. I mean, other than I feel like writing a good song and having it out there, but I mean, promoting it it's 100% of, you know, because you could have the best song in the world, and if it's, you know, it's sitting on the fucking shelf, nobody knows about it.
Right.
You know, or you can have a complete piece of shit and a great promoter take it number 1.
Right.
And, you know, but my God, what if we had really good stuff?
Yeah, with good promotion.
Oh my gosh, man. I mean, then you have like a fucking, you have Chris Stapleton type situation, and, you know, Jamie Johnson type, fucking Macklemore, Ryan Lewis. I mean, I've always seen Kristen as, you know, as a Ryan Lewis type, you know, where I mean, I said that 2 years ago. I was like, man, you know, she could stand back there playing a track with a booth, just showing up, making the appearances, hitting play, you know, rap along to it with the people on stage.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I've always thought it'd be cool to do a segment called Shooting the Shit with Cody, and you just shoot something different. every time. You know, it doesn't have to be long or anything. But it's like, hey guys, this week we're going to be shooting a refrigerator with a 243 rifle. And it's just a close-up camera and a camera you shooting, and it's just like, okay, shooting a fucking old TV with a damn shotgun. It's just like, hey, shooting the shit with Cody. You know, basically we shoot shit, and that's what you do. And each time you do it, you be like, hey, on shooting the shit with Cody, you know, you just play that little clip. You like, today, Cody is going to be shooting a, you know, easy bake oven with a bow and arrow.
That's funny.
And it's the whole thing start to finish is 30 seconds or less.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
that one's really good.
Brought to you by Bang, not the energy drink, you know. But that's that was the one thing that guy said, you know, I knew my wife was dead. Said the sex was the same, but the dishes started piling up. You didn't have your sound on, did you? Please tell me there's headphones. Golly, your wife's gonna hate my guts before she even meets me.
No, man.
Okay.
All right, Cody, I gotta go, man.
All right, man. You take it easy.
All right, man. Let's do this again.
Yeah, man.
Peace.
Yeah, we'll see you. Bye.